in Australia's capital. Remember, I was walking from the High Court to the National Library. And when you do that, you stumble upon a unique monument. It's a monument celebrating a High Court of Australia judgment. On the monument are inscribed the magnificent words of Sir Gerard Brennan from the Mabo case, if anybody has heard of it. They read, these are the words: "The common law of this country will perpetuate injustice if it were to continue to persist in characterizing the indigenous inhabitants of Australian colonies as people too low in the scale of social organization to be acknowledged as possessing rights and interests in land." A magnificent statement. A legal revolution. But what followed? Words on a monument. The recognition of native title was granted, but the power structures, the economic dispossession, the systemic inequality, they were largely left intact. The recognition became a shield against more substantive justice. This is the playbook of imperialist white settlers. Recognize a right in theory to avoid implementing it in practice. This is what is on offer today for Palestine by the United Kingdom, France, Australia, Canada, and several other Westerners. A state recognized on an imaginary map in a European capital, while on the ground, the apartheid reality is reinforced with every bomb, every bullet, every checkpoint. The key, the only key that unlocks the door to freedom, is not so much recognition. It is BDS, boycott, divest, and sanction. And its goal must be to bring about equal political rights from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. Recognition would have mattered at Oslo decades ago. It was the leverage that was squandered. Now, in the absence of any peace process to speak of, it is merely symbolic. And in its current form, it is worse than symbolic. It is a pacifier. We must understand the fundamental truth, so elegantly captured by that Mabo judgment in Australia, but so tragically ignored in its aftermath. Violent instability is baked into any system where one side has power and rights and the other has none. You cannot have peace, you cannot have security for anyone, Israeli or Palestinian, under a system of apartheid. The violence of the occupier begets resistance. The violence of the oppressed is then used to justify further overwhelming state violence. It is a vicious cycle engineered by the powerful. So, when these Western leaders herald their recognition as a progressive move, ask them one question. Where are the sanctions? Where is the arms embargo? Where are the trade restrictions? Where is the protection for the flotillas? Until they answer you convincingly, their words are not just hollow, they are weapons. They are the grease for the machinery of genocide. They are the modern-day equivalent of the colonial administrator who acknowledges the humanity of the native in a London speech while signing the order to clear their land. Let us not let them get away with it. See their recognition for what it is, a desperate attempt to save a crumbling system of oppression, not to end it. Our duty is clear, to amplify the call for boycott, divestment, and sanctions, BDS, to stand with the flotillas, to demand not words on paper, but justice on the ground, on the water, in the air. The Palestinian people do not need their hypocritical recognition, they need their freedom. And freedom only comes when the cost of oppression becomes too high for the oppressor to bear. Carpe diem.